the MEE-FIT Podcast Ep2. I'm here today with Claire, who me and Shan spoke very highly of in episode 1. So there's a lot of pressure on this podcast, Claire, to deliver some world-class fitness advice. So you've been a great addition to the team, Claire. I've been here for just over 12 months now and brought a very different dynamic and a very different experience and challenged us all as coaches and the members as well, I'm sure, which has been really, really positive. So it's cool to have you on the podcast and let's dive in. So could you tell everyone, Claire, just a little bit about yourself, sort of what's brought you to this point, being a coach at MEE-FIT, and just a brief-ish summary of who Claire is?
Brief summary.
I know it's a challenge.
I know. I don't do one-word answers. I've always been into health and fitness, but I've always been a little bit overweight, and I then got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 24. So I've always been mindful of food, but I didn't understand the connection of how powerful a good diet and lifestyle could be on your overall well-being, mentally and physically. And when I got ill, I realized that it wasn't just about diet, it was about mindset and how I talked back to myself. And so I had a lot of help with that. And then I realized how much I love health and fitness, and I realized that I loved helping other people get to a better place mentally and physically. It took me a long time. So I was a graphic designer for a long time. But then I realized health and fitness and being a PT and then being a nutritional therapist. So I re-qualified as a nutritional therapist.
When was all that? Sorry, just to be clear.
Yeah. So qualified as a nutritional therapist like 8-9 years ago. And then lockdown and all that sort of stuff, stumbling blocks of life got in the way and what have you. And then moved back to Shropshire from London because I was living there for like 15 years. I'm trying to make this really brief.
I think you did a good job.
Thanks. And then, moved back to Shropshire through lockdown, lost my job as a graphic designer, got made redundant. And then I thought, right, well, this is the kick I need to follow what I still think and is my purpose, is to help other people with their health and fitness, because I just absolutely love it. And got a job in a commercial gym, realised it was a bit too corporate, too commercial, and I had to fit in it was just another cog in the wheel. And then I was looking around for more independent gyms, and I don't know, MEE-FIT was just like flashed up, and I was like, I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to see what they say. Do they need a coach? And then I think we just hit it off, and it was nice for you to be open to other perspectives. And it was said, I think you said it was something that you were kind of thinking about anyway, more of a holistic approach, which is the words that you start using now.
Changed me, Claire. Changed me.
And so, I think I feel like I've just flourished from there, really. I've been in the right environment, which is key to hitting your goals and progress. I feel like I'm in the right environment and found the right support network and team where we boost each other up and we play to each other's advantages and, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like that's where I am now.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was pretty brief.
It was very brief.
Just touching on that though, like when you reached out to us and sent that first message or called, I think you spoke to Em, didn't you, on the phone?
Well, I messaged on Instagram.
That was it.
But no one had replied.
I think we were away. I think it just got missed, and then we didn't actually need anyone at the time, but once we'd had that conversation where you came down, showed persistence, which was always a good thing.
I rang up and I ended up having a chat with Emily for the first time for about 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
She was like, Dan, you've got to give this girl
absolutely. And then we did, and then because we didn't need anybody, but because of where we are, we're in Whitchurch, it's pretty rural, there's not a whole host of personal trainers around the local area, and I know most of them anyway and know who they are and stuff and what they're all about. So like when people come to us who are good and really care and deliver a really good service and know their stuff and are passionate, like we want to keep them around the place just for the future. And as it happened, we got you started just doing some
freelancing stuff.
And then kind of just snowballed from there, didn't it? Which was cool. So excellent. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about two of your, I would say, best topics or things that you seem to enjoy talking about the most. So we're going to be talking about values and knowing your why behind your fitness goals. So just very briefly then, I mean, how did that side of things sort of become something that you were interested in? How did that side of it become something that you felt that you could help people with?
Yeah. So when I started, when I became a nutritional therapist, we learned about, and it was clinical, so we learned about health issues, and then I had to create a plan for them to make changes to their diet and lifestyle to get them to a healthier place, to reduce their symptoms and all that sort of stuff. And the plans were pretty clear, but it was a lot for people to do, especially something that they were kind of oblivious to. And I needed more tools in my toolbox to help my clients implement these changes. So I did a few health coaching courses to understand how I can word things better and talk to them better without offending them in a way. And there's ways of talking about it. And then also from my own personal experience, I realized that stress was a massive exacerbator of ailments and health issues and how we talk to ourselves. So in this health coaching course, I didn't just learn how to help others implement their plan. It made me understand myself better. And then I just felt more empowered about what I was doing and why I was doing it. And, you know, what are my drivers, negative or positive? What's going against me? What's working for me? And when you just find those few little light bulb moments with clients, their progress is so much better. So that's why when you align your values with your goals, because sometimes they can get in the way of each other.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about before with the whole family thing, and I know we talk about it a lot because it's quite common for most people to have family as a high value of theirs. However, the mums feel guilty for being away from their children when they want to go to the gym because their family is important. However, if you align that with, well, if I go to the gym and I'm fit and I'm happier and I'm healthier, then I'm going to be a better mum, or I'm going to be a good role model. And I'm going to be around longer. I don't want to end up like my mum, not my mum particularly, but I did have one client where she didn't want to end up like her mum, who was osteoporosis, really overweight, bad joints, everything, and couldn't really move and wasn't really good with the grandchildren because she couldn't really do much, because I don't want to be like that. And my kids, you know, are getting older now. They're going to have children. I want to be a really fit grandmother when I get older, you know. So sometimes it's the fear of, I don't want to be like that. But family was a value. So, you know, aligning those goals will make you more likely to get to your end goal.
Yeah.
We're doing the empowerment program at the moment, and I'm not going to say this person's name, but we try and basically help them align they give us their goals, and then we try and align their values. And it's a bit out of their comfort zone because some people just don't understand it. But
before you talk about this, why don't we, let's say, for anyone who's listening who is kind of a bit like, I don't really understand what this all means, like, what's the approach here? So to try and help someone, you know, basically what you've just done with the empowerment program, which is our in-house nutritional program that we run here at MEE-FIT, like, what's
nutrition and mindset,
sorry. What's the process here? Because I think for most people haven't done this before. Most people don't really think about their values. People don't look internally that much and reflect on themselves and all these things. So what would be the approach to try and get this, just to actually do this and understand this better? How would you approach it?
Some people have barriers and they don't think they're somebody who could do exercise or change their diet and lifestyle. And they have these barriers or blocks and they don't understand. They just think they failed or they can't do it. But actually, the reason why we align their values and their goals is because their values are what drives them and why they're doing it. So that's why we help them try and align their values with their goals. So they want to lose weight, but they don't think they can. But why not? Where's that coming from? So then when we try and help them kind of reconnect with themselves and figure themselves out better, they're more likely to start at least and try new things because they start understanding themselves better. And then they start asking themselves the question like, why am I struggling with this? Why can't I do that? And all this. And then the more questions you ask, the more you understand about yourself.
So what's the process behind that then? How have you approached it with the clients in the empowerment program?
gone through, basically I've asked them the question, what is important to them? The question is, what is important to me in my life? So first of all, we ask, what are your goals? And it's around, you can have many goals, but this particular one obviously is with health and fitness. A lot of them want to lose weight or maintain their muscle mass and just be healthier and fitter. And a lot of people do struggle with their weight for different reasons. And we're trying to help them figure out why. So we ask them their goals, and then I go through a load of different values.
Like the most common values.
But there's like, I'll list about 20.
Yeah.
So there's like loyalty, family, happiness, adventure, power, friendships. These things are what are really important to them in their lives. And I asked them basically, what words resonate with you?
Yeah.
Stick out to you? And a lot of them, like the top ones, family and stuff, but not for everybody. Like adventure is one of them, and independence is another. And then after that, I get them to cross-reference them against each other so they can pick out their top 5. So choose family over positivity, and you like mark them off. And then you end up with your top 5 values, right? And then you list your top 5 values, and then I basically ask them, if you achieve your goals, what is the positive impact on each of your top 5 values? And that's basically then figuring out why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And aligning your goals with your values. So if family is your top value, I would be a better mother and a better role model. I would be a better wife or husband or partner if I went to the gym and I was healthier and fitter. And another really good example of one of our recent clients, adventure was another one. And keeping fit and healthy, his goals, will help him keep exploring by traveling, and hence why he wants to maintain his happiness in something that he enjoys, because he can just keep exploring because he's healthy and fit to do so. So that gives him a reason why he's still going to the gym. Sometimes he might not enjoy it. Sometimes he's tired. Motivation comes and goes. Like we said, it's a fickle friend. But knowing your why, the reason you're going to do that on the days where you're not motivated, gives you a bigger sense of purpose, and that bigger drive to just be consistent and focus. But another one I quite liked is independence. That was one of his other goals. So keeping fit and healthy to maintain independence, to be less of a burden on others and help others too.
Yeah.
And we find that with the 40, 50 plus, as they start feeling like they're getting a little bit older, and they're worried about losing their strength and their mobility. And we found it here with clients, even ladies in their 80s, they're just more mobile and able to play around with their grandkids that they struggled with before. And so their value is being independent. They don't want to be a burden. They don't want to depend on other people when they get old. They want to be as fit and healthy as possible and be independent. So that's why going to the gym or doing some form of fitness is a brilliant idea, to be independent. So then aligning those goals.
And maybe they've seen that themselves if they've had to look after their parents or aunts. We have that a lot of clients here who have to do that currently and have in the past, and maybe they've seen what the outcome could be for themselves if they don't do something now. So they've got that vision of the future and it's not what they want it to be.
Sometimes that is a bigger driver than what they want.
Yeah.
Sometimes what they don't want.
Yeah.
And you're like, I do not want to be... So my cousin died of ulcerative colitis. And when I was in hospital, I was like, I could die. This is quite serious. Don't want to go too dark or deep. But that fear gave me the power to I'll do whatever I can. I'm going to look at every part of my lifestyle, food, diet, how I think to myself, because I realized I'm quite a stressful person. And I was quite negative from, I don't know, because I was a fat kid maybe, and I was bullied and all that sort of stuff, but I didn't want to be a victim. I used all that negative stuff that happened in my life as power to be a better person. And it empowered me so much that I was like, I'm not going to end up dying in this hospital and maybe have my colon removed or anything like that. I don't want to end up like that. That's not what I'm going to do. So my driver is to be the healthiest version of myself, so I don't go back into hospital and potentially, worst case scenario, die like my cousin did. You know, so fear can be a good thing. You know, if you don't want to be fearful of being ill or dying or ending up like your grandma or what have you. It's almost as good or as a stronger driver as I want to be, you know, fit and healthy and look good and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and we see that quite a lot. We've had a lot of people get in touch with us who've got started after someone they love or someone close to them has had something bad happen to them, and it's like prompted them to think, actually, I need to make a change here and need to do something differently. And the vision of the future self can be powerful.
And I know I bring it up, but as a parent, not me myself, but I've seen some parents where their children aren't that active. And in fact, we've had one of the guys in, he was not very active at all. And one of his daughters struggles with weight and eating and all that sort of stuff, and is not very active at all. And she's got quite depressed. And he's done loads of other things to help her, and she's not taking his advice, talking. So he's decided to show her instead and lead the way and be a good role model and be a prime example of how being fit and healthy at any age can make you be happier. And lo and behold, it's not only it's actually encouraged her to be more active. So, you know, no kid likes to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So he's just shown what improvements, and she's seen how her dad has massively improved with his health and fitness, lost this weight, built muscle, and just been more energetic and motivated, and his mood is lifted. He didn't realize he was quite down.
Yeah. And
now he's a lot happier person, and being happy is infectious in a good way. Like, well, being down and being around low mood, down people can be infectious as well. So, you know, that's another thing about being in the right environment. It's not always about your motivation. It's being surrounded by the right people and being in the right environment that's encouraging.
Hitting a lot of very important topics here, Claire.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. We go off plan, but I love it. We talk about that all the time, though, don't we? How, you know, the phrase I'll always go back to, it's a quote from someone, I never know who. It was like, you know, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so if you look around who those 5 people are and what they're like, that's going to have a really big impact on who you are and your decisions.
Yeah.
And so I suppose if from a child's perspective, the mum and dad, or, you know, the parent in the household, whatever, is obviously a big influence on that, then it's gonna radiate to them, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's loads of things that can affect you as well. Like it's not just about, when we talk about lifestyle, it's not just like how much exercise you're doing. It's like the people you're surrounded by. Sometimes you don't realize that you're in this place because you're not surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
And when you start learning about yourself more and your values, you realize like these people don't understand me or bring out the worst in me.
Well, if I know who you were talking about in that last example, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm pretty sure that same individual has also made some changes to social circles and.
That's a different person, but yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it a different? Okay, right. Okay, I'm getting confused. But yeah.
Right? How good was that? When he told us that, like, I've realised that these aren't my people anymore.
Yeah.
And I've really...
They're dragging me down.
Yeah, and he thought it was him.
Yeah.
He thought he was just that sort of person who was, you know, low mood, you know, sort of like maybe he's not that energetic or upbeat.
Yeah.
He's so upbeat and positive because he's suddenly just realised how great life can be in the right place.
Yeah.
And he's found that nurturing and support and camaraderie and motivation, luckily here.
Yeah.
And we've buzzed off it back. And, you know,
it's been really cool.
That just two-way feedback with it. And he's then all of a sudden looked around and thought, I'm not hanging around the right people. Like, they're bringing me down. It's not me who was down.
Yeah.
It's not me being negative. And that's what happens. Like, when you start eating good, healthy food, most of the time, you know that if you eat too much of and I say bad food, I mean too much non-nutrient dense.
Low nutrition
dense. Loads of sugar or low calorie, high calorie, low nutrients.
Yeah.
That makes you feel physically a bit shitty after a while. When you start eating really healthy, nutrient dense food, you start thinking, it's not me who feels crap. That food makes me feel crap. I've eaten too much of it, you know, and then that, you know, stuff like that. But it's not just food. It's not just your activity. There's a whole 360 thing. Yeah.
So taking us back to our topic though, as interesting as that is, we'll try and keep back on the topic of the values and the knowing your why. The reason, one of the big reasons or the big benefits that you've brought here is, I think, a little bit more around this topic, which it's not to say we didn't discover or discuss with people and stuff beforehand, but probably didn't dive into it as much as we did, or maybe even understand it ourselves as much. And I think back to the early days of MEE-FIT. Me and Shan did the first podcast on this and went through the history. And like in the early days, me and Shan, young, sort of low 20s, like always been fit and healthy, always really valued fitness. I can remember how much we wanted to see all the clients we work with succeed. And some, loads of them obviously did, but then I'm sure most PTs will have this where there's certain clients who like you would just love to see achieve the goals, but they just can't, you just can't seem to get them to, as much support you give them, as much guidance and as much education and all this. And I suppose looking back, a big part of it that maybe we didn't think about at the time was maybe this side of it. Maybe what they were doing with their fitness wasn't really what they thought they wanted to achieve, or maybe the goals that they set out weren't aligned with their values as much as they could have been. And maybe that was the stumbling block for them. Yeah. Would your experience say that the people who've got a better grasp of this and have maybe understood this more are the people who tend to do better? Yeah,
and they do better.
And when I say do better, I mean achieve the outcomes they're looking for.
So, because when I say better, what I feel when I say that is they're more happier and they're more content. So yes, they might be losing the weight, but maybe not as quick, but they're okay with that because they're just happier in themselves because everything else is flowing better. Everything else feels nice. They're not doing it because they think they should.
Yeah. That's a big one with weight loss, isn't it?
Massively.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just feel healthier. They're stronger. They've got more cognitive function. They're more alert. They're doing better at work. They're more sprightly. They're just, they get up in the morning, they sleep better. Their stress is lower, or they're more resilient to stress. They're less naggy. They're just happier. Everything just seems a lot brighter. Like, don't get me wrong. Everyone has their bad days, but they're less than they're good.
Yeah.
And that's when they start to realize there's more to it than just losing weight.
Yeah. I think that's really, really powerful when it comes to weight loss, because my experience in this is that I think so many people think they want to lose weight, but if they really dug into it, I don't think they're as bothered as maybe they think they are. Often it's more, they think societal expectation of me is that I should feel I need to lose weight, especially for women, I would say.
Yeah.
Whereas actually all those other benefits that you explained, confidence.
Yeah, confidence.
Like energy levels, sleep quality, health, fitness, strength, all those things. If those things improved, but the scale weight didn't change, they might not actually be that
they're not
bothered
as bothered by it, or they're not as affected by it. Yeah. Like I still want to lose weight, but I'm more happy than I ever was back in the day because I'm healthier and I'm stronger and I'm fitter. I'm not as bothered by it. I'm not as affected by it.
Yeah. And that's not to say people shouldn't lose weight. And I always want to be clear with that. Like if someone I really do want to lose weight and I know exactly why, then absolutely cool. But I think it's important to really, think a bit below that level and think, well, actually, what's the weight loss going to achieve? What's the outcome of that? Like if I feel exactly the same, but I'm just a stone lighter, will I be that much happier?
No,
probably not for most people.
And that's what we found, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that's why we have the more holistic approach,
yeah,
or more rounded approach to it all, because there are other elements that are driving their happiness or unhappiness.
Yeah. And I suppose if it's that, you see sort of stuff on this online and whatnot, but like if your happiness is dictated by your weight, it's probably not a great position to be in, and would probably need some form of reflection on and challenging, because then, you're putting a very important thing, which is your happiness, solely on how much you weigh on a day-to-day basis, which doesn't seem like a great...
No, and it can be a real drain and negative driver for, it's just a drain on your soul, pretty much, isn't it?
Absolutely. So what would your thoughts be for anyone who's sort of, maybe they've not delved into this before, now hopefully they understand more about how to do it. So what would your message be to them to better align what they're trying to achieve with their values, and then linking in their behaviors. Just a bit of a general summary, I suppose, of the overall process.
I would ask for the support. Go to somebody, find somebody who knows all about that stuff, and reach out for support and reach out for help, because you're worth it. You are worthy of the help and you're worthy of the support. Don't try and do things alone. Like, you might be independent. You want to be independent, so you wouldn't ask anybody. But if you ask somebody for the support, you'll be more independent. You know, like, that's the sort of thing. Like, some of your values, if you don't understand it, can be blocks.
Yeah.
So get the right support. Like, you would go and see a mechanic to sort your car out. You wouldn't try and figure it out yourself, would you?
Definitely wouldn't.
I definitely wouldn't. I've tried. So like, I looked at an engine once, like, I don't know what's going on here. But, you know, there are different professions to help you in different areas of your life. So if you want help with your health and fitness, then you have to go and find the right support. And obviously here at MEE-FIT, we have so much amongst us on our team to give the right support for the individual, depending on what they need. I just implore anybody, is that the right word? Implore?
I think so.
I just encourage anybody who needs help with their health and fitness to find the right support and the right specialist to guide you in the right direction. And somebody who's going to show you the way, not just tell you how to do it. They're going to show you how to do it and put the power back in your hands, basically.
Oh, we're loving that saying, aren't we?
But it's so true. Like, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talk to me more about that, Claire.
I've got a saying.
Go on. You've been dying to say this saying. Let's have it.
So, failure is feedback. Feedback is knowledge, and knowledge is your power. Basically, knowledge is your superhero power. So the more you understand about yourself, the more educated you are about your health and fitness, then the more you're going to be better at your health and fitness, the more you're likely to going to succeed and be happy in the whole process. It's the journey, not just the destination. So the more you know about yourself and the topic, the goals, the better you will be and the happier you will be. So knowledge is power.
Love it. Love it.
Finding the right people, finding your troop is a big thing. So being around the right people, being in the right environment, that is going to be quite a powerful change in your life. And it could just be one person, one change. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different answer. So you have to do one little change. You know, join a gym or make a new friend in a certain area of something that you like. Join a running club. Just go one day. You might hate it, but just join it. Just do something different to change that sort of circle or network that you're in. And a lot of people think we're failing. And a lot of it is to do with the right environment, i.e. the right people, the right food, the right workplace, stuff like that. And I think that's quite powerful. So find your troop and find somebody who can lead you the way, basically. So, you know, here at MEE-FIT, we definitely look into what you're going for, what your goals are, what your struggles are, what your barriers are, what you've tried in the past. And then we figure out a plan that works best for you, and we help you align your goals with your values, and we help you get to your goals in many ways than one.
Okay, I think we've covered off enough there, Claire. It's mostly been about values and behaviours, but we've gone off piste a little bit, which I knew we would.
Just a little.
Because that's just how it goes on these things. But no, that's been cool. So that's been episode number 2. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And
thank you.
We'll speak to you all soon.